I spent years doing everything I thought success required. I worked hard, I'd earned graduate degrees, I built a professional career. If you had looked at my life, you probably would have said, she's doing well. But behind the scenes, it was a different story. I was waiting for my next paycheck just to pay my bills. And that's when I realized something that completely changed the way I think about money. The biggest mistake I made wasn't just working too little. It was believing that preparation alone would create the life that I really wanted. How wrong was I? I did everything right. So why was I still struggling? Have you ever looked around and wondered, I've done everything people told me to do. So why does it feel like I'm just surviving? If you've asked yourself that question, you're not alone. That was me. For years, I believed success followed a simple formula: study hard, get good grades, earn advanced degrees, build a respectable career, and even work hard. Keep improving yourself, read self-improvement books, and eventually financial freedom would come. You know, education absolutely changed my life. I don't want to belittle education. It opened doors. It gave me opportunities. It helped me become the woman I am today. But one day I realized something. Education gave me a career. It didn't automatically give me financial security. For years, I was working full-time, paying bills, waiting for the next paycheck. The paycheck came, the bills got paid. Then I waited for the next one. And God forbid, someone back in Africa even asked me for money. It was hard. I wasn't getting ahead. I was simply keeping up. Then I bought my house. You know, buying a home was one of the proudest moments of my life. If you've bought a home, shout out to you. If you're preparing, shout out to you. But it did something different for me. I realized my paycheck wasn't creating margin. It was covering expenses. You know, there's a difference. I knew something had to change, not because I hated my job. I actually really enjoy what I do every day. I love it. But I no longer wanted my entire financial future connected to the paycheck. So I started looking differently at income. You know, when you have bills waiting, the mortgage and everything, I started my car rental business through Turo. I officially registered my side hustle, which was braiding hair. You know, those decisions changed my thinking forever. Not because they made me rich overnight. I'm still in the process of figuring things out. They did not make me rich. But for the first time, money came in from more than one place. And I experienced something I had never experienced before: a breathing room. When you have your bills paid, I wasn't constantly counting down to payday. Wednesdays for me. I had options finally, and that changed me. But here's the interesting part. The lesson wasn't completely new. I had already seen it growing up. Let me tell you a bit about my mom. My mother never had the opportunity to attend school. In fact, should I say this on camera? My mother cannot read and write, yet she built and ran a successful business, not just one, a few successful businesses. She didn't have business books. She didn't have an MBA like me. She didn't have a perfect business plan. My mother always had options. She started with what she had. She learned as she went. She served people very well. She solved problems. She kept going. Yet my mother always said, you have the options now because I can pay your school fees and do everything. But for years, I believed education alone would change my financial future because that's what I thought. Meanwhile, my mother had already demonstrated something I hadn't fully understood. You see, let me tell you, success doesn't belong only to the most educated. It often belongs to the people who are willing to begin. Today, I still believe deeply in education. That's why I make my daughter and my niece, who are behind the camera, to read books, go to school, take courses, develop skills. But don't confuse learning with moving. I know that's easy to do because I naturally overthink everything. I want every detail planned out. I want every answer. I want everything perfect. It's just in me. But I realized something. And maybe you're like me too. You just want everything perfect. Maybe you've been saying, I'll apply when I have one more certification. I'll start the business when I save more money. I'll launch the YouTube channel. You can go on and on and on. Or maybe you've said, when I have a better camera, I'll start that podcast. I'll invest when I understand everything. I'll begin later. I have to plan everything out first. Here's what I've learned. Preparation feels productive, no doubt. But sometimes preparation becomes a place where people hide. Not because we're lazy, but because we're afraid. Afraid of what? We're afraid of failing. We're afraid of looking foolish. Afraid of what people might think. Actually, let me tell you something. My daughter actually thought I was cringy starting a podcast, but action teaches lessons that preparation never can teach you. Everything meaningful in my life happened after I became willing to move before I felt completely ready. My businesses, my investments, even sitting here talking to you today, none of them started perfectly, and none of them would exist if I had waited until I felt ready. Today, my philosophy is very simple. Keep learning. Never stop growing. But don't let another degree, another book, another course, another perfect plan, or another day become the reason you never begin. Education gave me knowledge, but my mother showed me courage. She taught me that action gave me options. And that action, when I took, I had options. And options gave me peace of mind. So today I want to leave you with one question. What have you been preparing for? That's finally time to start. If this message spoke to you, let me know in the comments. And if you're trying to build a life with more purpose, more confidence, and more financial freedom, subscribe, like, follow, share, because we're learning together. But more importantly, we're growing together.